welcome to HBI 2026. I'm Rakshitha. I'm a journalist with 𝘃𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗄 International. We have with us today Kip Sloane, who's the CEO of Schönes Leben Gruppe. Welcome, Kip.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Kip, how does Schönes Leben's premium living model stand out from the traditional care?
It might sound a bit odd, but we think of ourselves that we're trying to reinvent the idea of aging. So basically, aging is always kind of seen as a negative development, and we want to put a stop to that idea. So what we do at Schönes Leben is basically providing apartments, providing living room for aging people for sure, but then not specifically for care. So what we do differently from classical care operators is we do not put the care in the center of our product or service, but we try to build something that actually fits and suits to the needs and desires of the customers. So what we do in our communities is basically we compile or combine 4 different areas of services.
And what are these 4 different services?
It's rental, the first and foremost. So people just rent barrier-free apartments, which they can furnish for their own. They're about 70 square meters in average, so like real size apartments. And then they can select the services they want. So we've got common areas you can imagine from a nice Robinson Club, like a library. We've got a gym in our communities, a sauna, a swimming pool. So all of these amenities that you'll find in a nice 4 to 5-star hotel. And then you can basically walk up to the concierge and say, I want this service, I need housekeeping, or I need a house technician because I have a plumbing issue. And these things then come in together. But you can also stay longer. So if there is a dependency or if you're in need of care, there's also ambulatory care staff on site, which helps in the process of aging and which makes it possible for the people to remain in our communities until high age and also high age and care dependence.
That's very interesting. And I think with the increasing aging population, there must be a lot of growth potential as well. But if you can tell me, how are the growth opportunities in Germany, specific to Germany?
I would say at the moment is a huge market opportunity because we see what we refer to as the demographic change of the aging baby boomer generation. So the strongest generation we had, considering the birth rate, is now slowly beginning to age, and they're pushing forward a huge wave of aging and also care-dependent people. And for those target group, we're not that narrow-minded any longer. It is not okay to be just more or less well attained to, but you also need some sort of entertainment. So we see our target group slightly shifting, and for those, we also want to have different areas of the market. So what we do is premium senior living, but premium for us is not luxurious. So
we need to make that distinction. Okay. Yeah.
In my opinion, you need to, because if you would go for luxury, it is a small niche and it does not have a bigger market relevance. But if you go for premium, the upper third of the income ratio suddenly qualifies. And that, in my opinion, is a big market, a growing market because of demographic change, and a surprisingly wealthy market. So if I look at my customers at the moment and I take an average, they have over 4,000 euro of monthly income from pension. They have their savings, which also on average accumulate to 400,000 euro. And then they almost always sell their property. So another 300 to 400,000 of liquid assets. And these makes them millionaires in the 7 to 10 years they live with us as a potential of wealth and income. And this then can be spent into a probably a little more expensive apartment, a little more of a self-pay service or self-pay care.
And how attractive is this senior premium living market for private equity investors? Do you see a lot of them investing?
I see a lot of them interested, but still trying to understand, is there really a case behind? And that's something I love talking about because I see there is one on 2 sides. So we have on the real estate side an opportunity to cope with rising construction costs, because if I rent out the apartments to the end tenant at a high rent, I can also qualify for a higher general lease agreement rent. So that makes it more attractive for real estate investors to actually build what I need for operating.
Right, yeah.
And on the other hand, it's the operating perspective that we actually see a benefit in operating senior living in comparison to classical healthcare.
Okay.
Because it's a little more stable, not that much of a staff issue. I don't need that much qualified people working. And that is, I think, foremost important, the rentability, profitability is higher at a more stable and not so volatile business because they live with us up to 10 years.
Yeah.
And not like a year as you would do in a nursing home.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's all very interesting. Many thanks for joining us, Kip. Thank you very much.